Awesome. So it looks like we are live. What's up, Action Tribe? AJ here, host and founder of My Seven Chakras, my7chakras.com, the show where we help you experience effortless healing, awakening, and abundance. Now, today's episode, we're going to talk about some really fascinating, interesting, and mystical topics such as the Akashic Records, the importance of surrounding yourself with kind people, and near death experiences, NDEs. So, if you'd like to explore some or all of these topics at your home or maybe in your car, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button because what it does something to the algorithms within the podcasting world. I don't know what that is, but it does something to the algorithms so that people who do not usually see our podcast are able to come across our episode. So hit subscribe, be part of our group. And if you'd like to join our official Facebook group of our podcast, the place where we have these exclusive discussions and we talk about some amazing stuff that we don't discuss otherwise, and we do some breath work, then go to my7chakras.com/tribe. My seven is a word, my7chakras.com/tribe. And with that being said, let's bring on our special guest for today, Teza Zialcita. Teza is a mystic and Akashic Records teacher, healer, and author of three best selling books: Universal Conscious Self, Ions of Manifestation, and Cosmic Soul. And she believes that everyone can have access to their Akashic Records. We are part of the universal collective consciousness of human beings, and we are here to help others transcend this lifetime into oneness. And this episode stems from my own intention to connect with more creators and healers and yogis from in and around Vancouver because historically, as you might know, my guests have been from USA, but I want to grow locally now and really connect with our community. So Teza, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
And are you ready to inspire?
Yeah, super ready.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So it's super exciting. We usually start with an inspirational quote. So, what is that one quote that you have on your mind right now, and how do you apply it in your life?
Mm. So this special quote is from Shanti Deva. It's I tapped into this when I was going through Dark Night of the Soul. So I actually literally wrote it down just because it's so deep. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then, may I to abide, to dispel the mystery of the world. It's a Bodhichitta's mantra.
Could you share that once again? Because I want to make sure that it, is
Resonate.
ingrained in me.
Yes. For as long as space endures,
Mhm.
and for as long as living beings remain,
Mhm.
until then, I may I too abide, to dispel the mystery of the world.
Mm, wonderful. Thanks a lot for sharing. And how do you apply this quote in your life? How does it speak to you?
It speaks to me that we are living in a dark Kali Yuga. This is the dark age, and in that there's a lot of human suffering. And if we have not awakened, we are going to be lost in the chaos. So for me, as long as space endures and human beings are here, I'm asking the divine that I will be dwelling, abiding in helping others to transcend their victim consciousness.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for sharing. And I think that's very profound because we are living in times of a lot of uncertainty, a lot of
Mm.
stress, anxiety, a lot of changes are happening. People might be losing jobs, or there are relationships that are breaking up, or maybe, unforeseen deaths and sadness. And in such a situation, a lot of people do not have the tools or practices to process what they just experienced, as well as release the trauma that they might be going through. And I think as healers, it's our responsibility to
Mhm.
help and support these people. So thanks a lot for sharing that. Let's start at the very beginning.
Mhm.
Maybe we could talk about your childhood. Where were you born and brought up?
So I was born in Philippines, Manila.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was a child of nature. So I climbed the trees every morning, look at the plumeria flowers. I talk to the trees, the flowers, the frogs.
Mhm.
I'm so connected to Mother Earth, and I lived there for 17 years. And in that childhood, um, I was experiencing a near-death experience at 2 years old. So I was diagnosed with diphtheria in the hospital, and my mom was telling me the story, and I have this vivid vision of myself and my mom carrying my body and my two brothers running in the hallway. So that vivid vision is so in depth within me that I always have that within me, and I feel that the things that I'm doing now is actually connected to that near death experience because I have a lot of out of body astral projection that I do, you know. So I travel, a lot of astral traveling.
Cool. That's amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing. Now, when the condition that you had, could you explain to the audience what exactly that is?
Diphtheria is like a bacterial infection. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when we have the immunization now, the vaccine of DPT, diphtheria, polio, pertussis, you know, that is now given to the children because in 1960s, I was in 1965 that vaccine wasn't around, and yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. It's so fascinating that the experiences that we have as children, sometimes there's a plant experience, and then
Yes,
life comes a whole circle,
yes,
and we have the same experience, or maybe we do that same vocation, or we're doing that same practice in some way or the other, connected to that one experience that we had as a child. Now, in my case,
yes.
I, as a child, had a lot of wheezing problem, a lot of respiration issues. I literally could not breathe in many
Wow.
instances, and I used to have these spacers and these
Password.
different sprays that I used to spray into my lungs so that I could breathe. And these days, I'm actually doing breath work, which is I'm teaching people how to breathe correctly and
Yes, so
properly
true.
so that they get energy and can, transform their lives. So it's very fascinating how something at all
Yes,
in your childhood reminds you of what you probably need to focus on in the future. So it's
so true.
wonderful that you had that experience. I mean, not wonderful. I'm sure there's a lot of difficult trauma that is associated that you're working on right now,
Mhm.
but it's definitely special. So, how was your life growing up as a teenager? Um, at some point, you
Yeah.
said did you moved
Yes,
to USA? Is it?
so my blueprint, my incarnation is literally about sexual abuse, death, and sexual abuse. I have 4 or 5 planets in Scorpio. I studied astrology, but I don't do it professionally. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so in tune with the planets, and I like investigations. So just like what you were creating, like death at a young age, I was actually being sexually abused by the babysitters as an infant.
Oh.
So during that time, that's when the sexual abuse was happening. And I put them all together when I was 27. So I migrated to Los Angeles
Mm.
from Manila. And also, I came from a tribe. I have 6 brothers and 3 sisters.
Okay.
And I'm number 10.
Okay.
So, yeah, I feel like I was prepared or my soul chose this tribe so I could literally see how behavior works, the mind works, and how you can create a community because I could read them. So as a
Mm-hmm.
child, I was prophesying, I was a mystic, reading palms at the age of 9.
Mm-hmm.
I would have vivid vision and I would tell my brother, your flight is canceled and you're coming back. And literally happens. So they're
Mm-hmm.
like, it's so awesome. Yeah.
Right. So you're having these experiences, you're having these premonitions, you're receiving this information. So what is the reaction of your brothers and sisters? Like, are they saying what happened to her?
Yeah. I grew up being supported. So that's the beauty of my family.
Mm,
They
okay.
believe in me.
Okay.
So I was the entertainer. So I grew up like an entertainer. They would always listen to me. I They always have high expectations, and it's actually a very good childhood because in the school I was the president of the class every year. You
Okay.
know, yeah, very highly provided. Like self-esteem is really wholesome. Yeah,
Thanks for letting us know. I think it's really important, especially in
yeah,
the formative years, right, to have the right self-esteem, to have the right
yeah,
support structure, and your siblings and especially your parents make such a huge difference. So, as a teenager,
yeah.
what did you want to become? And by the way, when you share, if you could try to speak a bit louder, just so that the
Okay,
microphone
the
picks up the
microphone.
volume.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Thank
I
you.
will speak louder.
Good, good, good.
So as a child, I literally have a lot of titles. When they ask me, "What's your name?" I would recite all these names. I'm
Mm,
Maria Teresa. My real name's Maria Teresa. Techi, Teza. I will create some other names. It's so fascinating now. I look back. What
mm,
am I doing? And then I wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, an actress. So all these things are in my ambition list, right?
mm,
But it didn't happen that way. I became a nurse, and yeah, so everything is just fall into the right place. So healing is my number one passion. As a nurse, I was healing a lot of people who are dying. So I had experienced 100 or more people die when I'm there in the shift.
mm,
So then I recognized, you know, death is a big part of my calling. So
mm,
I felt like I was a gateway for the elders to transition with love and into the light. Because my experience as a nurse in the nursing home, I've been there 28 years. I'm still
yeah.
there, casual.
Mm,
My experience are the elders are very lonely because the family members are not visiting them. So they have a lot of fear letting go of their body. So
mm-hmm,
they're literally just waiting for their guide to let go of their suffering and feel welcome. I always say this simple, very simple. I wasn't into this deep consciousness. I was just doing the things that I know how. So I will just say, you can just close your eyes and then you will find your loved ones waiting for you. And they love you, they're waiting for you. And the resident, literally, sometimes they're comatose and they will open their eyes and just have this amazing light, illuminating from them. And they're happy and they just have the smile and they close their eyes. And the room is filled with the soul. It's a huge,
mm,
beautiful gift that I received when they passed on.
mm. Yeah. So, seniors is something that I'm passionate about as well. And after my MBA here in Vancouver, I worked at a company where I had an opportunity to do a senior living project.
Oh wow.
and I really studied the entire senior living spectrum from the palliative to the more independent seniors. And
Yes.
so there's definitely a spectrum, right?
Assisted living. Yes.
Yeah, and I noticed that ageism is definitely a challenge, not just in Canada, I think around the world,
Mm-hmm.
where after a certain point, older people are considered useless, ineffective, right? And
Mm-hmm.
people don't visit them and they miss that social component, which is so important for any person to be with people who like, know, and trust them.
Yeah.
So as they were getting closer and closer to their death,
Yeah.
what is something that you would notice on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
from a spiritual
Yeah.
standpoint? Would they
Yeah.
be, visited, or would they be having conversations
Mm-hmm.
with beings or something like that?
Yes. There's a lot of experiences. One thing for sure is the physical body goes into you know uh, a shift in their color, right? So their legs would be purple, and they would have less um, the breath is all different. It depends on the person, right? But spirituality, before I come to work, I would come into a dream with them.
Mm.
So they would tell me a message, and I don't understand what is this message for.
Yeah.
So one particular time, I dreamt of my beautiful Nora, and she said to me, she crashed the wall of glass. Actually, her son crashed the wall of glass, and she said to me, "Please tell my son to forgive me."
Mm.
And so I woke up, and I'm just like, why is she in my dream? Because this person was alive, right? So I come to work, and I got the message that Nora passed away last night.
Right.
Yeah. And so I come to the room, I take care of the family. The family came from Seattle. And because I'm so open to this, I just literally say, I don't know what this means to you, but I had a dream of your mom. And
Mm.
she was asking me to ask this, to give the forgiveness from her son.
Right.
And, yeah, the family, the daughter and the granddaughter started crying. And they
Mm.
said, yes, I have a brother that have not kept in touch with my mom.
Mm.
And so it,
Right.
yeah, it opens the heart of the family, and yeah, they connect to me. So it's like a mediumship.
Yeah.
And during in the room, I would always tell them, I'm a very joyful person, so
Mm.
I come into the room with joy, and they will call me, "You're my angel. You're the dancing nurse." So I dance with the residents, and
Mm.
yeah,
It's amazing. So, this is probably the second or third time that
yeah,
I'm hearing about an experience that you had where the person who recently passed away in some way had a psychic communication with the person that they were in touch with. In your case, you were the
yeah,
nurse. And I strongly believe through my own experience and practice that once we know how to use our heart to send psychic messages across space and time, then the other person does receive the message. And it's
yes,
so fascinating that this happens. But I think humans have this intuitive capability, right, of telepathic communication. And I'm not sure if you've got friends who are nurses, but I would love to have like a panel discussion, like
we have a lot of nurses. Oh,
eight
I
to nine nurses and
yes,
all of them
yes,
having this amazing maybe we can organize that. Let's
yes.
do it.
I'm actually gonna introduce you to Zara Lalani. She's a
Okay.
specialist in hospice
Okay.
cancer, and
Yeah.
she does this interview with death and dying.
Cool.
Yeah,
We'll do that. We'll plan something out, but it's
yes,
great. It's
so
interesting
awesome.
to note. Yeah.
Mm.
So, what are some of the lessons that you've learned from the dying so far? What is their biggest regret?
Okay, the biggest lesson is letting go of fear of
Mm,
death, yeah, and that they want to feel that they are loved
mm.
and that they are validated. So when I'm with
Oh,
them, I validate them, and that they feel loved by me, So I become like a channel
Right.
of love that they didn't receive from their family.
Mm.
So that's
Right.
the biggest message of the elders that had that had been forgotten, and they carry a lot of wisdom. So I used to interview my residents, but I
Mm.
don't put it in public because it's privacy,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
confidential. So
Yeah.
I truly deal with them. Their wisdom. I used to have this amazing farmer, and he was in his 90s, and I asked him, "What do you miss from being a farmer?" And he
Mm.
said, "The sound of the universe." And I'm like, "Sound of the universe? What in
Yeah.
the
What do you mean by
world?"
that?
Yeah. I Googled it, and the planets have sound.
Mm.
And when the astronauts are coming down to Earth, there is a sound. So the
Right.
sound of the universe is in the silence in the farm
Yeah.
when he's tuning into this. So it's so fascinating how our
Mm.
elders have a lot of ancient wisdom.
Yeah. One thing I think we're missing out on, especially because there's so much of modernization, is that
Yeah.
the light above is literally polluted, right? We can't
Yes.
see the stars. We can't see a shooting star. We can't see comets.
Hmm.
But if we go outdoors and up the mountain, like they
Hmm.
say in some of these observatories, you can literally see like a million stars in the sky, and
Yes.
maybe you can
So
hear the
beautiful.
universe also.
You can hear the universe. That's
Yeah.
why I love nature. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Being in British Columbia, I want to
Yes.
experience more of nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely getting there. What is your definition of ascension?
Ascension. So, for those who are new to this, I was brought up as a Catholic.
Hmm.
So, in this Catholic religion, ascension is when we die and ascend into heaven. But ascension is literally transcending all your victim consciousness, letting go of fear, guilt, shame, and the map of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins is a prime map for us to understand how we are vibrating as energy beings. So ascension is letting go of the lower chakras that
Hmm.
you are, you know, um, speaking about, and
Hmm.
allowing your consciousness to reach a higher level of the cosmos, and by that you are having relationships with the ascended master, the galactic beings, and literally activated your consciousness into being a multidimensional state of being. So
Hmm.
ascension is not dying, but it's dying to the old self and having a rebirth of your new light body. It's like reconnecting to your light body.
Got it.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Our listeners love this topic. Now, by the way, um, people who are watching this right now, it's live. So if you add a comment, if you add an observation, if you add some feedback or something that strikes you, make sure you add it in the comments below because I'm monitoring comments on YouTube as well as Facebook. Uh, and Teza, I'm enjoying our conversation, but the microphone is,
It's still low.
adjusting a bit. Yeah, it's no, no, it's not. No, volume is proper, but it's just shaking a bit. So,
Oh wow, okay.
yeah,
I would have known.
because I love the conversation so much,
Yes,
and we're getting to an interesting place.
yes,
But how did you discover the Akashic Records now? Like, where were you?
yes,
What was happening?
yes. Okay, so on 2008,
Okay.
my friend told me, Tessa, you have to have a reading about Akashic Records.
Okay.
And I said, well, what is Akashic Records? I thought it was about music because
Ah.
records, right? I
Yeah.
was so duh.
Yeah.
And then I Googled it and stuff. And then I came into my email. There's an Akashic Records coming to town. So Jennifer Longmore from Toronto is coming to town. So I connected to her, and she said to me, I'm actually doing my first teaching in Akashic Records.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I signed up for everything. So for 1 week on 2008 July, I was with
Mm.
Jennifer Longmore taking attunements from Ascended Masters, the Archangels, level one, level two. And then she told me, Tessa, you'll be a writer of many books. and you have to stop going to school. You're a master, and you just focus on Akashic Records. And so I followed her advice because I used to go into so many workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just opened my records every day. I gave it for free. 50 people from the nursing home, I opened their records. I was just, very passionate about it. So I had a lot of practice until by 2009, in 6 months, I established my business. And I started going traveling with Body Soul Spirit Expo. I went to Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, Los Angeles. I actually went to New York, and so I just went on. I'm very passionate. When I'm passionate, I go for it. I don't have this self doubt.
Hmm.
I follow the guidance of the spirit.
Wonderful.
Mm.
By the way, I've had Jennifer Longmore on my show.
Did oh
Yeah, I've had.
so
Yeah, she was really amazing. We spoke
yeah,
about
she's
Akashic
a magic.
Records. So I didn't know that
We
studied with
connect.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah. Perfect.
great.
So that's when you were introduced, and then you
2008. Yeah.
realized that that was your thing. You wanted to go deeper into it, and you started serving and supporting people, and that took you on your travels. So, for somebody who's new to this, what exactly does the Akashic Records contain,
Yeah.
and how far back can you go?
Oh, so Akash is a Sanskrit word meaning ether, sky,
Hmm.
or primordial substance before anything becomes a form. So it's
Hmm.
like that creative juice, the substance, the 0 point field, you know, the consciousness, the collective. So it's a very vast compilation of evolution of humanity, planets, and the universe. So everything that is in form is has a recording in the spiritual realm. So to make it simple, if you're an architect, you would have a blueprint before you build the house.
Mm.
So that's the Akash. So your soul has these vibrations, and you have traversed your multidimensional journey, and in this incarnation, in this limitation with the physical body, you will find contraction, and it's like confusion. Who am I? What am I doing here? And who is this family that I have? Those questions will open you and lead you to finding the Akashic field. So the Akashic records, eons of lifetime, can only be tapped by the prophets, the sage, the seers. But now, because of the consciousness that we are living in, we have now gained access for the dispensation of grace, divine grace,
Hmm.
that we're able to see our highest potential, to see, to purify. This is a state of purification. So Akashic Records is not for the weak.
Mm.
It, it's for the souls who are courageous to face their dark night of the soul, so they're able to help humanity and the collective and all their family members. So it is a very, very, very sacred space that we go into. And the teachings that I receive is actually through a sacred prayer.
Mm.
So it's an initiation to the lords of the Akashic Records, to the lords of karma, to the gatekeepers, to the ancient wisdom keepers. So with Archangel Metatron, who records the scribe, he's a scribe who records the evolution of our consciousness. We are given the grace to enter, to understand, and why Akashic Records access is important, because you have to see why things are happening in your life, like tragedy. My son literally died 2 years and a half ago, Theo, and how I could see the bigger picture of the death of my son and what makes soul contract with Theo, and how I was able to find uh, healing and surrender the tragedy, and I was able to help others in this this realm of suicide, sex abuse, and parenting. So I have a lot of clients who go through this mental health. Um, all these things are in our Akashic records. So right now, the pandemic is a huge collective awakening that we are given to really go deep within our soul.
Hmm.
So it's the soul's vibration in multidimensional lifetime.
So, when you're looking at the Akashic records
Mm,
and we think about the future,
yes.
is it all written down or are these indications of what might happen? Like the
Mm,
potential,
mhm.
like
Yeah.
potentialities and
It's like a
depending on.
crossroad. So
Course,
basically,
yeah, okay, yeah,
yeah,
okay,
crossroad. So what
yeah,
I see is a hologram.
okay.
So when I open a record, I tap into your past that is that is recurring, has a recurring pattern in your present, and how you can shift this and tap into your highest potential. But everything is here. Everything is here now. It's an
Hmm.
eternal space.
Yeah.
But because of the linear mind, the third dimensional body that we have, we get stuck in the past, we get stuck in the future. That's why people are not present. They work too hard, they work two jobs. They're worry and fear of if their security. So they're not in sync with the soul's highest potential. So by the time
Okay.
by the time they come to me, they're ready. They're ready to take the action. So my clients
Mm.
are actually wounded healers.
Mm.
Most of them are wounded healers because I find that I'm their anchor
Mm.
to show up, to shine.
Right.
So yeah, they have this emptiness and they have this kind of embarrassment. They can't get out of the family dynamics, and they have all these gifts
Mm.
that they need someone to share their life because they're so stuck in the family and about the opinions of other people. And so this is where I'm at now. I create a community of wounded healers that
Mm.
that will help others
Yeah.
transcend. Yeah.
Got it. Well, you can add one more to that list of wounded healers. Me myself, but I agree.
Such a
I
pure
think,
soul.
yeah,
You
it's
are.
like if you're a healer and if you want to heal, like you said, it's like opening the Pandora's box
Yes.
because then you're opening yourself to certain unexpected consequences,
Yes.
stuff that you could not have planned, but then that is for you to go through that experience,
Mm,
so that you by your own volition can experience some
mm,
pain or maybe discomfort, so that you can when you are trying to support somebody, you can say that I've been there too, because
yes.
otherwise you won't have a frame of reference, right?
Yes. And it's the most I find healing if you're going through mental illness and whatever, get a healer that went through mental illness.
Okay.
Okay? Because she or he can see where you at and how she can pull you out of that illusion
Hmm.
and bring you to your own divine light, your Shakti, your Kundalini, that
Hmm.
will enlighten your illusions and fear. So that's what's happening. I have a lot of teenagers actually. They come to me because they know I'm Filipino,
Hmm.
and it's just a family, a huge tribe of Filipinos, and they will just come. I'm like, where did you find me?
Hmm.
And I just
Right.
love these teenagers. They come to my home, and I do healing for the whole family.
I
So
get
the
it.
mother, the teenager, and the father,
Yeah.
because mental illness is the sickness of the family.
It is of the whole family, right?
Yes,
Sometimes it's like a
yes,
karmic
Yes,
familial
it's
thing going on.
karmic. It's a
Hmm.
bondage, and the one who's experiencing the illness is is an ambassador
Yeah. Hmm.
for the
That's true.
family to let go of their ego. Right? Most parents have a lot of control, rules.
Mm.
They don't know how to parent consciously, so they're very
Yeah.
unconscious. Mm.
It's amazing. I love Filipinos, large families, loads of
Dancing,
energy,
a lot of
music,
food,
a lot of good food. It's such a good vibe, and especially in Vancouver, a lot of Filipinos. It's beautiful.
but it's
Uh,
full of drama too. So I stay
Too much
away
drama.
from drama.
That's well, where you have a lot of energy and big family, you have sometimes personalities also, right? And so you have dramas,
Entanglement.
entanglement, which is one of my questions. We're going to come to that soon, but I don't want to jump. But
Okay, keep me
how did
grounded.
you can be grounded exactly? How, how did you learn about your life purpose through
Mm,
Akashic Records? Like, I know for a fact that a lot of our listeners, they are doing a job which they know deep down is not in alignment with their
yeah.
values and what they're called here to do, right? And they
Mm,
know deep down they have to do something else.
mhm.
But I'm curious about how did you go about,
My purpose.
your purpose, and where in that did being a nurse play, right? Because you were a nurse,
Transition.
but then you were doing other things as well. So
Yes.
I'm curious.
Yes. Whoa.
Mhm.
Finding your purpose. I literally think your purpose is you within you,
Mm.
and whatever you love doing as a child is the magnet to your huge amplification.
Mhm.
So I never question what's my purpose because I already know that I'm here. I'm so aligned in my divinity
Mhm.
that there's nothing to ask where I should go.
Mm.
I am being led as a child, as a wife. When I was 19, I was trapped because this is called the wounded mirrors, right? I married at 19, and the same personality of my father. So basically, my wounded soul took me to a relationship where I would be experiencing my wounds.
Mm.
And that is called sacred contract.
Okay.
So my ex-husband is my sacred contract to help me heal my wounds, right?
Got it.
So when I was married,
Mhm.
I literally hide to go to school to get all the requirements for nursing, and nobody knew that I'm going to school because I was 27 and I just had a baby, 6 months
Mm.
old. So
Okay.
Tiffany was only 6 months old, and I then I received the invitation for my nursing, and I told my family, and they're all shocked that I'm going to school. So my purpose is always compassion, kindness, compassion, joy.
Mhm.
Those are my direction, and I live within this compass.
Mhm.
So if something is not making me happy, then I do not belong there.
Right.
Yeah,
Something
very
that raises your
simple.
vibration.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
simple, but uh, a person is so complicated because she thinks or he thinks that there's something more that she's supposed to be doing. It's either financial, but the wealth is in your heart. So your wealth is in your breath, in your heart, and when you know that deep within, wherever you go, you'll be abundant because you're always connected to the source.
So you said that from time to time we manifest relationships based on what aspect of ourselves needs healing,
Yes,
or so like you said, you manifested your husband
yes,
because you wanted
of my
to heal
wounded
yourself,
soul.
your wounded soul. So at
Mm,
what point do you know that you're healed, or do you keep
yeah.
attracting the same person again and again?
So at 36, I had a wake up call.
Okay.
So there's a 911 scenario in my family, and the police was asking my son, Theo, uh, why did you do this? And then he says to the police, my father is dragging me to hell. Those words are so powerful. I woke up. I'm done with this marriage because I was staying in the marriage because of my children. Well, you know, when you have
Mm.
three children, you want a wholesome family,
Right.
perfect picture.
Mm-hmm.
When my son said that to the police, I'm done with the marriage. I
Mm.
cannot listen to the words of my son and not be able to take him out of that
Mm.
equation. So at 36, I got divorced, and my awakening was coming around. Uh, I've experienced the martyrdom, the sacrifice, mother of three children, single mother. I was highly focused on education. My three children went to private school because that's my upbringing. Education is important.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, I got free from all of this responsibility because they became responsible citizens. So that's the mystery of life is through hardships I'm able to find light,
Mm.
and that light is my direct guidance that
Mm.
I'm doing the best that I can, and I grow every day. I am not stagnant. I don't know anything. Is this actually the formula? I don't know anything. My
Mm-hmm.
knowledge is like a little fractal of the universal knowledge. So I'm so humbled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love listening to doctors and highly educated people, highly spiritual people, because from them, I learn, and it's like adoption. I adopt the character, the integrity, the lesson of these human beings that come
Mm.
to me. So I see them like a library. So I'm like a library. I
Mm-hmm.
have books of people that come to me. Cosmic Soul is actually a library of the clients that came to me.
Right.
Right. So
True.
that's how I tap into the records and rewrite the victim stories. So I like storytelling, rewriting, and that's what it is.
So,
Mm.
by the way, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this live, or maybe if you're catching a replay, make sure that you add a comment, give us a heart, give us a like, let us know that you're here because otherwise we'll not know. And I can see so many of you
I know.
are live right now. So yeah, give us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are, feedback, observations, insights, some synchronous moments that you're experiencing right now. Bring it all in. Uh,
Mm.
but Tessa, I wanted to ask you for somebody who's listening right now, how does a person attune themselves to the Akashic Records? How do they open their heart to receiving the information that they deserve to know? Any advice around that?
So we're literally tapping into the Akash. We're alive. Our soul is alive. We're
Hmm.
tapping to our soul. When you're in your zone, when you're an artist and painting, you're tapping into your records. You are an artist in many, many lifetimes, and you chose to be an artist again. You
Hmm.
know, but this sacred tool is actually an initiation from the masters. So you're coming into a school where the teacher had been initiated and opening this portal as a sacred space for you to open your records. But you can, uh, they're all over. I actually give my books for free sometimes because I like my healthcare nurses, caregivers. I want them to have an access to this Akashic records.
Hmm.
So just go around and find a teacher, a healer, a book that will open you up. It's so accessible. It's a
Hmm.
prayer and an initiation that you will access.
Wonderful. So it's sort of like a prayer and invitation that you do so that you can call in. Okay, cool. And diving deeper, you talk about clearing, right? So you say clearing of entanglements, of contracts, of agreements, and things like that. So, what are entanglements, and how do they affect our life in the
Yeah.
present moment?
Mm. So entanglements is very, like real in your life. It's like if you're husband and wife, you're entangled.
Yeah.
You have the Akashic contract. You're entangled in everything really. Your mind, your spirit, your body. So that entanglement can it's either it's for the good highest of all beings or
Hmm.
it's victim consciousness. So a relationship is an entanglement. So we need to have this clarity. What are we feeling, right? Always connecting to the heart chakra.
Hmm.
Are we feeling good with this person? Are we feeling tense? Are we feeling belittled? Or it's really basic good mojo, right? If
Yeah.
you're feeling good, you're in a good relationship. There's no entanglement. But if you're feeling all this animosity and you're here, whatever that is negative, your
Yeah.
gut thing. Today, I walked in the morning and I found all these beautiful colors of yellow. So the solar plexus is talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
Gut feeling, your intuition, your trust. This is our brain. The gut is the brain, right? And people who have problems with their gut
Mm.
have a lot of problems with their mind. There's a lot of confusion, entanglement.
Yeah.
They can't sleep right, So
Yeah.
all these things. So you need a healer, a spiritual healer, Reiki healer. There's so many energy healing modalities, right? Reconnective. There's bioenergy healers. The shamanic work. All of these spiritual methods are here for us to help ourselves, like release those blockages that are in our chakras that had been there imprinted within our karmic wheel
Mm-hmm.
from our parents, from our ancestors, our bloodline. So the DNA, all this clearing is happening now from our collective. So the humanity is experiencing a lot of chaos if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't done the work. And if you have done the work, you're literally abundant and shining and helping others to transcend. It's just really taking the action and claiming your divine birthright that you're here to help. Hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree about the gut. The gut plays such a critical and important role, not just spiritually, but physically as well, and chemically too, because the gut is um, the most responsible for the secretion of serotonin, which is the happy, feel good hormone. And I think if you feel good, then you're confident, right? I mean, these go hand in hand. If you
Yes,
don't feel good, then it's going to be hard to be confident in your own body, in your
yes,
own soul. So I totally agree with the importance of healing the gut, along with
yes,
focusing on the solar plexus chakra. But along those same lines, sometimes it feels like we've got these energetic blockages, right, and are
mhm,
silently holding us back.
yeah.
And if somebody's listening to this podcast or watching the podcast, they surely know. What is your advice about clearing these unconscious, subconscious imprints, these triggers, these habitual tendencies that we, engage in without even knowing? So how can we l- get to a place of more liberation and a
Yeah.
fuller life? How do we clear this?
It's a very long process, but you can access it um, in many ways. Literally, if you want to have a clear mind, meditation,
Hmm.
sound healing is an activation of your auric field, energy field. We have nature to ground ourselves, the microbiome. We
Hmm.
have to tap into Dr. Zach Bush and his field of amazing microbiome. we okay, so we have meditation, silence of the mind. We have grounding for our root chakra. So, because when we're receiving cosmic downloads, when we're receiving a lot of electrical energy, so we're literally electromagnetic field as a human being. We need to ground this wiring because if we don't ground, we stay in the air, and
Mm.
air is like a chemical bomb, like a uranium, it's an atomic bomb. So
Yeah.
you need to open this portal and ground it into the heart chakra. We need to surround ourselves with healers and tribes, with the masters.
Hmm.
You need to access the ascended masters, Saint Germain and the violet flame. The violet flame transmutes all energy that is not of light, and that brings us into the I am consciousness. The crystals. The crystals are here way back from Lemuria and Atlantis. So the crystals, I have here Herkimer Diamond.
Hmm.
You can actually find this in New York. Herkimer
Yeah.
Diamond is about a high vibration of oneness. If you want to have a unified consciousness, you have this Herkimer Diamond's vibration, and it harmonizes and synchronizes your energy field
Hmm.
towards being light. So those are, and smudge, right? So Palo Santo. I always have Palo Santo
Yeah.
around. So yeah, this Palo Santo smudging, lighting a candle. So I do rituals.
Yeah.
I do rituals. Yes. Mm.
It's wonderful. I love crystals, but somehow when I get crystals, they always go away. It feels
Ah,
like somebody else needs the crystals more than me. So,
yes.
but I want to get more crystals, and hopefully I will sometime soon. But I totally agree. It's all about creating an environment around you that is conducive and facilitates your healing process. Um, I was going to say something, but I'm sure that thought process will come back. But the other thing I wanted to say was, we are the average of the people that we hang out with, right? And you've sort of alluded to the fact, the importance of community. And I've been wanting to do more activities here locally in Vancouver. How did you go about building your local community? How did you go about starting the process?
I think it was innate for me because I grew up in a home with
Mm,
25 people.
yeah.
So imagine you have 25 people in your home. So you're
Mm,
so open to
yeah.
being a part of the tribe. So I feel on 2009 when I opened my business, I was able to open my home. So I don't recommend this to everyone because I'm just, whatever experience I have, I share. I opened my home. I have a falling out from the church, the Catholic Church, and I started opening my home to anybody who has a spiritual inclination.
Yeah.
So I have no beliefs, no religion. So open my home. It grew and it grew until 2017. I started the Om Healing Community with my
Okay.
friends, and we did five events. And then I found my niche is social media. So I just always announce. I have no shame or guilt. I just I just become myself. I'm my happy self, and people get magnetized to this energy. So
Hmm.
people who are shy comes around me, so then they release their shyness.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I always have food in the gathering.
Food
In
helps for sure.
Yeah, but right now, of course, we're in this
Yeah.
precautions with COVID. And yeah, talk about tribe. I want to announce that one. August 8th and 9, we're here. It's called 888 Lions Gateway event at NCA. It's niche crystals and amazing jewelry. It's so beautiful. I have like 15 healers. It's only 8 tables a day, and we have a meditation on 8 at 8 p.m. for the collective. So I encourage you to go and see us and feel the vibrations. Yeah, it's time to get out.
888. I'm born on June 8th, by the way, so I'm an 8 too.
You're an eight. Wow.
Yeah, my sister is also April 8th.
Are
So
you 19? What year are you?
I am 1987.
1987. Have
Yeah,
you done your numerology?
in parts, but I think it's been a while since I've done a numerology sort of analysis or report.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely resonate with it, and so does my family. It is like our lucky number in our family. Yeah. Um, I, so yeah, the thing I wanted to say was you spoke about church, right? I think church is very um one of the good things about church is that you're congregating, right? Your people
Yes,
come together Sunday morning, and you're used to it, and you meet community and you engage in spiritual activities. But if you're not a Christian, then it becomes challenging.
yes,
And it's wonderful that you have these communities maybe on a Sunday morning where you can bring together people and have some
yes.
nice food and talk about topics that uplift you and bring you to the next level. So it's yeah, it's I think we need to have more of that, and hopefully, once the
Once
whole pandemic eases out, then we can have more spiritual church ceremonies.
again,
But
we froze. On 222, we froze. Yay, what happened?
oops, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I could hear you. You know, we froze on
We
222.
froze on 222.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. I definitely sense there's some energetics associated with this.
yes,
But we have there's a process of rebirth of our interview that's going on.
the reverse.
But I wanted to speak about what hurts us makes us whole. So what do you draw from that?
So true. Your brokenness are the treasures in the darkness. Because through the brokenness, you're able to open your heart and allow the divine light to embrace you, to sustain you. Because when we're hardwired, when we're core, our ego deflects all of this spirituality that we're talking about.
Hmm.
Because the ego repents. Like, I don't want to hear anything about spiritual because I am strong in my body, in my mind. So it repels this opening.
Hmm.
But when a tragedy comes to you, like a death of your beloved son, beloved child, it breaks open your heart and you are able to surrender your life because you realize I cannot control anything. This is a divine blueprint that I'm in, and how I could be like an eagle looking over the situation that's in my life
Hmm.
and see the higher perspective of the soul because we don't die.
Hmm.
So my son comes to me as he speaks to me so clearly. So as a mother, I feel his presence, his consciousness. He directs me and guide me. I ask, right?
Hmm.
So every human being has this capacity to tap into the spiritual realm, into their loved ones, into the stars, the planets, because we are energy beings. There is no time and space. But
Hmm.
because of this contraction in your body, this is the breaking of your body, opening your heart. So then you're able to embrace and allow this huge, expansive you, magnificent you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it was Rumi who said that the wound is where the light enters.
Yes,
And these experiences that we go through, whether it's the loss of a loved one or like loss of a job that you've been probably doing for the last 10, 15 years,
Yes.
or something that's really hard to go through, break up in a relationship. These are experiences that really humble us and make us
Yes.
feel truly human,
Yes.
and realize that we're not all and everything, but we
Mm.
are part of something that
Yes.
is
So
big
beautiful.
and wide and beautiful, right? And I totally agree. I mean, it's the what hurts us does make us whole, or at least gives us an opportunity to seek something that is worth seeking. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing this with us. How did you go about processing this experience and dealing with the associated trauma?
Mm. So with Theo, I wasn't able to sleep for a week after the
Mm,
service, and I was lying down in the couch that he used to sleep in,
mm,
and I woke up around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had information. It's like his soul spoke to me that when he incarnated as a son, he chose me as a mother because his blueprint is to help me heal my inner child. So he came to Earth and was sexually molested around 3 years old. So for many years, I was in counseling with Theo. I didn't know that it was for my inner child. I was healing my own sexual abuse as a child. So I
mm,
became stronger, and he lived with me for 33 years. He never left me.
mm.
So I became so strong that he is my hero. He literally incarnated as my son to help me do the work. So I am doing the work of parents who experience loss of their children,
Mm-hmm.
children who are suicidal. I'm doing the work for people who have sexual abuse. Even men comes to me who had sexual abuse.
Yeah.
This is huge, you know, vibration that we need to bring into the light
Mm-hmm.
about death, that we don't die, we physically go back to Mother Earth, we had a rebirth, and we're eternal. We can access, communicate to our beautiful spiritual loved ones.
Yeah.
So it's huge. That's
Yeah,
how
I
I
think it's huge and it's very rewarding as well, the work that you're doing, because I think that when it comes to suicide, you can't really tell that a person is going to commit suicide, right? The first people are usually smiling and they appear happy and normal, but you never know what's going on inside them emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And sometimes just when we check in with them and we, support them, or maybe we share some gifts that we have that have helped us, that one thing can make, you know, a life of a difference, and we'll never know about that they were so close to suicide, right? So whatever work that we can do, I think it's worth it. So thanks. Cool. Based on what we've shared so far, based on the stories that we discussed and stuff that we've been talking about, what is that one action step that you'd like to share with our listeners?
did you say action?
Yeah, just one thing that they can probably explore or do or ponder upon or meditate upon, something along those lines.
I invite you to be authentic. I
Mm,
invite the listeners, whoever comes across this message, to be true to yourself, to accept, embrace who you are, with your ego, with your lightness. So then you're able to function with the yin yang, darkness and to light. Darkness and light
mm,
are here together with us. We are human beings. So a lot of people are hard on themselves, and I find that ridiculous because this life, this snippet of physical vibration is so short that why are you making yourself work hard? Why are you hard on yourself when time is so golden, right? It's a golden nugget.
mm,
So for me, as conscious as I can be, I'm always present with the person who's in front of me,
mm,
whether it's homeless, whether it's my patient, with our interview, I want to connect into the heart and the soul of the matter. So I don't have this illusion about the other person or the things that I need to do. I'm present with you. So then we can have this deep conversation. Oh, this is so beautiful. Someone's popping up.
Yeah, yeah.
So I invite people to embrace your darkness and how you can fully engage as your authentic essence yourself. Hope that
Yeah,
now.
that's a wonderful next step. I totally agree. I'm a part of this Buddhist community. I've got friends in this Buddhist community called SGI. I'm not sure if you know about that. But the idea is that there's a Buddhahood in everybody, and
Yeah,
there's a potential within every being to realize their fullest selves. And irrespective of where they are today, I think when we have these conversations, my practice is at least to, fully realize the potential because, in the internet social media age, like things can change, right? Things are
yeah,
moving so quickly that things people can change themselves, and so if we encourage them even through our intentions, then that can be miraculous. So Action Tribe, I hope you enjoyed today's session so far. We've explored some really powerful and important topics, including the Akashic records, how to raise your vibration, how to get rid of these subconscious dormant blockages that are holding you back. And irrespective of whether or not you believe in this or you've experienced it firsthand, I'd say keep an open mind and a spirit of inquiry. There's a lot about the universe that we don't quite understand or we can't explain yet, but doesn't mean that it's not true. It just means that science has not caught up,
mm,
and we probably need some more research and studies to understand these amazing and fascinating phenomena. I know the CIA has done a lot of research into psychic phenomena. So
oh,
just search for Project Stargate. It's a top secret, obviously now open to the public, but Project Stargate, they hired psychics to sense
yeah,
what's happening across geography, across space, and on Mars as well. So there was a lot of stuff that the CIA is fascinated in, and if they're fascinated, you know that it's definitely powerful, and so keep your eyes, ears, and heart open. And that's why Edgar Cayce once put, and
yeah,
he said, every moment of our lives, we are creating the images and patterns that give our future
mhm,
energy and shape. Right. So the thoughts that you have right now, you can really manifest
yeah.
your future, um, and bring it to the present moment. And with that being said, we are now at our wisdom round, which includes 4 questions so that our listeners can take note and take action. So, Teza, what is the best piece of advice that you have ever received in your life?
Best piece of advice is be happy. My son
Wonderful.
told me this. He said,
Just be
"Mom,
happy.
simplify your life. Be happy."
If you could turn back time and spend 1 hour with someone who is currently living or dead, who would it be?
My son, see you.
And what is that one thing that you do in the morning or maybe in the evening before you go to sleep that has improved the quality of your life?
I pray. I light candles. I do rituals. I smudge the whole house.
Hmm.
And I ask God or divine, who am I serving today?
And if you could recommend one book for our listeners today, what book would that be?
Well, of course, my book, but it's not what I have in mind. It's actually I've been reading this book and it's really touching me.
Hmm.
The Divine Thread. It's called
What
The Divine Thread
the
by
divine prayer?
by a master, but the master's name is Buddhist, and I can't come up with it right now. But
The divine prayer, is that what it is? Divine prayer?
thread, a thread,
Thread. Okay, okay. Divine thread. Okay, got it.
thread. Yeah,
Perfect. I just noted down.
and I only read it like one chapter for like every few weeks because I need to assimilate the
Hmm.
energy of the divine thread. It's a Kundalini amazing healer that is alive right now. Actually, I saw him on
Wonderful.
YouTube, but I forgot his name. Yeah, Divine Thread.
Cool. So, Action Tribe, would you like to receive one book for free? Because audible.com is offering all our listeners, irrespective of where you are right now, you'll get one free Audible download with a free 30-day trial, which means that you can choose any book that you'd like from the Audible library and you can start listening to books. And in most cases, the authors themselves read out the books to you. So in case you're feeling called to start listening, go to my7chakras.com /free book. My7chakras.com /free book and start listening to your next book. So Teza, thanks a lot for joining us today. Before you go, tell us one thing that you're grateful for and how can we find you online?
I'm grateful for we are alive. I'm
Mhm.
grateful for our life and for all the people that are coming into our lives. Praveen, beautiful medium. And I'm grateful for you, AJ, for
Thank
opening
you.
your heart and your life in your service to humanity. You are a great messenger, a communicator, as
Thank
a
you.
Mercury planetary informant that you are. I am grateful for your calling.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so super excited to connect with you and hopefully we can have some in-person events in Vancouver and that's exactly the reason why I want to connect with all these amazing beings like yourself from around Vancouver and British Columbia. But Action Tribe, if you're on Instagram, then make sure that you take a screenshot on your phone and tag us. So tag me on Instagram and
Sure.
tag Teza. My handle is at my seven chakras. That's at my seven chakras. And what is your handle? I'm also going to take a screenshot. I'm going to take a photo.
It's an amazing moment that I'm really
Yes.
happy.
Yes. And so just tag us,
Yeah,
and then we will share it with our community and spread the word.
awesome.
So, did you share your website?
My name is my website, tezashalsita.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. And you can
Okay.
find me in Facebook, social media. Yeah, awesome. Oh,
Okay. So
good.
I will add that into the show notes. Super appreciate that. And as the next steps, if you have some feedback, any questions, any observations, and you'd like to reach out to me, my address is aj at my7chakras.com. aj at my7 is a word, my7chakras.com. So, Teza, thank you so much for coming on our show, talking to us about the power of the Akashic Records and taking us one step closer to a human revolution.
Ooh, thank you.